Welcome to the 2014 General Election Candidates Forum. Tonight's forum features county races and Campbell County Health Board. Tonight's forum is being sponsored by Campbell County League of Women Voters and Gillette Public Access Television. Special thanks to the City of Gillette and Basin Radio Network.
Good evening and welcome to the first General Election Candidates Forum, sponsored by the Campbell County League of Women Voters and Gillette Public Access Television. I'm Susan McKay, and I will serve as moderator for the first part of tonight's forum. Tonight's forum features candidates for county offices and later the Campbell County Health Board. The purpose of tonight's forum is to introduce you, the voter, to those candidates who have indicated an interest in serving the public as an elected official. The Campbell County League of Women Voters believe this forum is a way for our citizens to learn more about the candidates who will represent them, and we look forward to a stimulating discussion. We appreciate the use of the City Council chambers where we are broadcasting from today, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to broadcast live via Gillette Public Access Television and Basin Radio Network's 1270 AM. Each section of the forum is on a restricted time schedule. For those in uncontested races, the candidates will be allowed to read a 3-minute statement. In the contested races, the candidates will each receive 1 minute to make an introductory statement. Then each race will be given a question or series of questions to address. Finally, the candidates will be given 1 minute for their closing statement or to rebut any answers given during the forum. All discussions are timed by an official timer, and candidates will be advised when there are 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and when time is up. We ask the candidates to please respect the time limitations. Candidates, if you would like the question repeated, please do not hesitate to ask. We will begin tonight's forum with the statements from the candidates for County Commissioner. And here are the statements from our candidates. Candidates, you have 3 minutes, and we will start with Matt Avery.
Thank you. And I want to thank the Women's League of Voters for hosting the forum tonight, and I want to thank everybody in the audience here tonight. And I also want to thank those of you at home that are watching Gillette Public Access TV. And I'm passionate about being a commissioner for Campbell County and committed about working with the citizens of Campbell County. And I want to see the county to continue to put money away every year for long-term capital replacement, maintenance, and fleet accounts. This is something that's been going on for many years, and I'd like to see that continue. Other issues that we are facing that I feel that are very important to the citizens of Campbell County, and I will work hard to achieve, is maintaining our county infrastructure. Environmental issues that are attacking our county, oil, gas, coal, and agriculture. And those issues are sage grouse, raptors, watersheds, viewing sheds, air quality, whatever you want to put in there. It's making it awful hard for these companies to explore our minerals and also make a living and producing food for our people to eat. Relocating the transfer station. We're working hard to see how we can save money and years in our landfill. I feel that's a very important thing that we need to be really concerned about. Air service. Good quality air service is important to the people and businesses of Campbell County, and that they need and deserve reliable air service in and out of Gillette. In closing, I want to thank you for your support in the primary election, and I appreciate your support in the general election November 4th. God bless you.
Thank Now we'll move on to Rusty Bell. Rusty?
Thank you, and thank you for the invite. Thanks to everybody watching and in the audience. This is, I really want to thank the sitting commissioners, Commissioner Avery and Schober. They've been very, very good to me, and everybody in the commissioner's office, welcoming me with open arms. I appreciate everybody that voted for me in the primary, and I have been making myself extremely busy, going to as many meetings, board meetings, quarterly meetings, trying to eliminate the learning curve when things happen in January. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody. I'm going to continue to work really hard for Campbell County, and I look forward to serving everybody and listening to their concerns and doing the best job that I can for Campbell County. Thank you.
Thank you, Rusty. And now we'll go on to Mickey Schober.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to be here tonight, and I would like to thank the voters that voted for me in the primary. And I am finishing my current first term as a commissioner, and looking forward to second term as a commissioner. And kind of to be a commissioner, you wear very many hats, and there's lots and lots of things go on, and this is a very busy county. And so some of the things that we've done in the last 4 years, we purchased 640 acres of land from the state of Wyoming in a school section. It is committed to be the location for future county facilities. Weed and Pest is currently going there now. Potential for Road and Bridge sometime in the future. Looks like the school district is going to relocate their transportation facility there. It gives us a long-term, multi-year place to accommodate those kinds of facilities when they need to be relocated. Not that all of those things need to happen right away, but it's something as a comfort to be able to have that land for quite some time into the future. We're currently working on the landfill, restructure the landfill, the way the garbage is handled, the way recycle is handled, and the goal in that process is to reduce cost and increase the life of the landfill, and looks like we're going to be able to go from 20-year life to about a 40-year life. But it's, as commissioners, we've spent the last 6 to 12 months on this project. We're also working on rail spur and a rail siding site for Campbell County, and currently there isn't a facility here to offload off the rail into Campbell County, and sales tax is collected at a point of origin, and so any massive pipelines, those kinds of things that are offloaded in somewhere else, the sales tax doesn't arrive here. And so we think there will be a potential for export of oil and some of the other things that are starting to come here. So we've also been working on that. We're always diligent with the road and bridge operation. This is probably one of the largest counties in miles of roads in Campbell County. We're proactive. We stay ahead of the dust. We stay ahead of the county road needs. And we have spent about $3 million in southern Campbell County on county roads to stay ahead of the oil impact. Looks like it's going to take that same kind of money again in this next budget year to do the very same thing. So thank you very much, and I've used up my time, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Candidates, thank you for coming this evening. We will be taking a short break, and when we return, candidates for Campbell County Attorney will be up. Thank you.
You're watching the 2014 General Election Candidates Forum. Tonight's forum features county races and Campbell County Health Board. Now let's get started.
Welcome back to the General Election Candidates Forum. We will continue tonight's forum with candidates for County Attorney. The candidates with us this evening are Ron Worthwine and Lisa Finke. And here is an introductory statement from our candidates. Candidates, you have 1 minute. Let's begin with Lisa Finke.
My name is Lisa Finke, and I'm running for county attorney. I graduated from the University of Wyoming College of Law in 2008, after which I took a position as a law clerk with the district court in Gillette. I clerked for 3 years, after which I went to the Campbell County Attorney's Office and prosecuted for a little less than 2 years. After that, I went into private practice, and I currently serve part-time as a guardian ad litem, representing children in abuse and neglect cases. I'm also a circuit court magistrate, and I fill in for the judges when they are unavailable, including being the substitute judge for the Juvenile and Family Drug Court Program. I'm a member of the Campbell County Prevention Council and president of the Board of Directors for Energy Capital Habitat for Humanity. I'm also a member of the statewide GAL Program Advisory Committee. I'm running for county attorney because I want to serve the citizens of Campbell County. I'm a well-rounded individual with natural leadership abilities who is dedicated to doing any job before me well. I have a good work ethic, great people skills, and a genuine concern for the well-being of the community. I will make an excellent county attorney, and I ask for your vote in November.
Thank you. Now Ron Worthwine.
So, well, the timer was making noise still, so I didn't know we were going. Good evening. My name is Ron Worthwine. I'm running for county attorney. I am obviously the Republican. I've been a resident of Wyoming since 1994, and I also graduated from the University of Wyoming College of Law in 2006. After that, I worked for the district court judges, and then I went to the public defender's office for a little over 2 years. I went to the public defender's office because I had a passion for trial work, and I knew in the public defender's office you'd be able to get into the courtroom right away. After I worked for the public defender, I went to the Nick Carter Law Firm, and I worked with Nick for slightly over a year. And after that, I went to work for the county attorney's office. When Bill Edelman took his judgeship in Buffalo, I took over in the county attorney's office, eventually being promoted to the chief deputy position. My passion for trial work gives me the experience that I need in order to make the right decisions and to be able to help train the attorneys that are in the office. And I would ask for your vote on November 4th.
Thank you. Now for the question. Each candidate has 5 minutes to respond. What is your vision for the future of the county attorney's office? We'll begin with Ron Worthwine.
My vision for the future in the county attorney's office has a couple of facets. The first thing I would say is that the county attorney's office needs to be focused on reducing the recidivism rate. Both as a defense attorney and as a prosecutor, we see over and over again some of the same defendants. And one of the common denominators that those defendants that you see over and over again have are drug problems. There is a definite need to recognize what can be done and what resources we have. Unfortunately, we don't have a treatment facility here in Gillette, but we have treatment facilities down in Casper that we utilize. We have treatment facilities in Sheridan that we utilize. And it's an important tool to have in the toolbox as a prosecutor when we're looking at the criminal actions of people. It's easy to say, well, let's just throw them in jail. And sometimes that's necessary. The punishment aspect has to be taken care of, has to be looked at. But at the same time, if we just throw them in jail for a certain amount of time and then they're out again looking for their drug, it really doesn't help anybody because it leaves the people of Campbell County at risk, being victims of violent crime, being victims of property crime, being victims of theft. But if we find these people early, who are going to be our recidivists, are people that are having addiction problems, are people that need this treatment, if we can get them into the treatment that they need early, I think that it's going to make a huge difference on the amount of people that we see over and over and over again. And I think it's an important vision for the future of the county attorney's office to get the attorneys on board with looking for those people that do need that assistance, that do need that treatment, and trying to get them into those programs because we don't want to see them offend again. It's an important piece to what I think the vision of the future of the county attorney's office should be. Of course, when looking at the county attorney's office, I think one of the biggest things that we do is prosecute crime. That is where most people have their interactions with the county attorney's office, is either being the victim of crime, being accused of a crime. And so the prosecution of crime is obviously one of my biggest focuses. It's been one of my biggest focus throughout my legal career. And one of the things that I think will be important is to have a county attorney that has done big, serious felony trials so that we have in-house training. As attorneys, we have to do trainings 15 hours a year to stay up with our legal requirements. But I think it's important to have that person in the office that's able to train in-house. Today, I had a trial going on, but during one of the breaks, I had one of the attorneys in the office come to me and talk to me about one of the trials that he has coming up. And we bounced some ideas off each other, and I thought it was a very good collaborative process. So I think it's important to have people in the office, such as myself, that have done those trials, that have been there and can do the work and can lead by example. Like I said, I'm doing a trial today. It started today and it should be over tomorrow. But I'm in the middle of doing one, and some of the younger attorneys in the office come and watch. And it's important to have a leader that leads by example. And that's one of the visions that I have, is leading the office by example. Now, as the chief administrator in the county attorney's office, am I going to be able to have the kind of caseload that I have now? No, of course not, because there are administrative duties that the county attorney has. But my vision for the county attorney's office in the future is that as the head attorney in the office, I will handle the important cases, the big cases, and be the voice for the victims in Campbell County while leading my team of attorneys by example. It will also be one of my focuses for the future of the county attorney's office to continue to pay attention to the youth of Campbell County. Because, of course, we deal with the juvenile system, and we are the state's voice in the juvenile system, and it's important to keep up on that.
Okay, your time's up. Thank you. And now Lisa Finke.
My vision for the future of the Campbell County Attorney's Office is clear. If I'm elected, my goal is to have one of the best, if not the best, county attorney's offices in the state. The employees of the office are going to be professional, respectful, dedicated, hardworking, and knowledgeable. We're going to have an organized and professional office, and it starts from the top down. It starts with me. To begin with, my job will be that of an administrator. My job will be to be present in the office, supervising and overseeing the work and the decisions being made. My job will be to know what's going on in the office, in court, and in Campbell County. We're going to have an office that is professional in every way, from the paperwork that is produced by the office all the way up to our interactions with the public and the courts. We're going to be respectful of everyone we come in contact with. We're going to earn the respect of the public and every agency we work with by being professional and respectful. We're going to be prepared in court. We're going to have discovery and evidence distributed in a timely manner to avoid delays in cases. We're going to be respectful of others' time by not being late for court and by giving adequate notice to witnesses, jurors, and the courts in instances where court hearings have to be continued. We're going to keep witnesses and victims informed of what's going on in their cases. We're going to develop a system of communication that allows phone calls to be returned in a timely manner. The employees are going to be well trained. We're going to develop a continuing education and training program that allows the employees to continually improve their skills. We're going to implement a training program that other offices throughout the state are going to want to follow. We're going to save the taxpayers' money by using local resources to provide relevant Wyoming-based legal training to the attorneys, such as tapping into the wealth of knowledge that the numerous retired judges around the state have and are willing to share. We're going to keep quality employees from leaving the office by creating an environment where employees want to come to work and do their best because they feel they're supported and that there's room for career growth. We're going to create a work environment that leads the employees to continually strive for excellence. We're going to hire attorneys with significant trial experience to handle the cases that need to go to trial and to mentor the other highly talented attorneys in the office on how to win at trial. We're going to hire attorneys who are not just experienced at going to trial, but at winning the hard trials. We're going to file the right charges the first time so we don't waste the taxpayers' money and the court system's time dismissing cases. We're going to establish policies and procedures that lead to consistent, effective justice. We're going to establish a standard sentencing schedule with aggravating factors so that the attorneys are consistently making the same recommendations when it comes to sentencing. We're going to establish charging policies that provide every defendant and every victim, regardless of race, social class, culture, sex, or past history, with justice that is unbiased and fair. We're going to get justice for the community as well as the victims. We're going to make sentencing recommendations that send a message that child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, and prostitution are not welcome in our community. We're going to work to address the DUI problem that exists in our community by looking for innovative ways to alter the sentencing of multiple DUI offenders to protect the community, such as advocating for participation in the 24/7 sobriety program that was passed in the last legislative session, or the establishment of a DUI court. Every DUI death is a preventable death, and we're going to take DUIs seriously. We're going to aggressively seek justice and restitution for our victims. We're going to advocate for mental health services as a part of sentencing. We're going to bring back community service as a sentencing option. We're going to work cooperatively with other agencies in the criminal justice field. We're going to support them in accomplishing their jobs and helping them meet their statutory requirements. We're going to earn their respect because we're doing our job and we're doing it well. We're going to take an active role in bettering the community. We're going to be proactive in approaching our legislatures about needed changes in the law. We're going to advocate for better victim services and support those agencies in our community that provide those services. We're going to actively educate the community and raise awareness around issues such as child sexual abuse, elder abuse and exploitation, and sexting. We're going to participate in preventative measures whenever possible. We're going to continue to provide quality legal advice to the county commissioners and departments. We're going to manage the taxpayers' money wisely and make sure they are getting the best bang for their buck when it comes to justice in our community. You'll notice when I talk about the office that I use the word we. That's because I know that if I'm elected, running a successful office is going to be a team effort. If I'm elected, my job would be to lead the office as a manager and administrator. My job would be to make solid legal decisions and structure the environment of the office to be an environment of success where employees love what they do and as a result provide a high quality of service to the citizens of Campbell County. My vision for the office is clear: respect, professionalism, and a high quality of service. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it is time for closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute for their closing statement. We will begin with Lisa Finke.
Thank you. It's time to raise the bar on what the citizens of Campbell County deserve and get from the county attorney's office. It's time to expect more. If you trust me with your vote, I will be a true leader in the office and run an office based on integrity, hard work, and earned respect. I have a wealth of experience that sets me apart as a leader and an administrator. I have spent hundreds of hours presiding over and managing the courtroom as a circuit court magistrate judge. I have worked within the criminal justice system as an attorney, judge, foster parent, police dispatcher, EMT, and firefighter. If I lack anything in experience, I make up for it in GSD, getting stuff done. It's time to expect more. It's time to raise the bar. I am the candidate that is best suited to run the county attorney's office as an administrator and a leader. I would be honored if you would vote for me in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Ron Worthwine.
Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting us to the forum. We certainly appreciate it. I think that it's an important choice that the voters of Campbell County are going to have to make on November 4th. But the thing I would ask you to keep in mind is that there is no more effective leader than one who leads by example. And that is the type of leader that I will be. I will be the type of leader that can show the office. This is how we win at trial. I invite people to go to the district court and look at my history in the trials that I've done and the trials that I've won. And I invite that. I would ask you to do that. I would also invite you and ask you to talk to law enforcement. I don't have to establish relationships with law enforcement. I have the existing relationships with law enforcement, and that's an important part of what the county attorney is going to have to do, and I would ask for your vote on November 4th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you both for joining us this evening. We are going to take a short break and return for the Campbell County Health Board of Trustees Forum. Please stay tuned.
You're watching the 2014 General Election Candidates Forum. Tonight's forum features county races and Campbell County Health Board. Now let's get started.
We will conclude tonight's forum with candidates for Campbell County Health Board of Trustees. The candidates with us this evening are, for the 4-year terms, Dr. Alan Mitchell and Cliff Ritchie. Alan Mitchell. So. 2-year terms. Did I say 4? I'm imagining things. Sorry, 2-year terms. Dr. Mitchell and Cliff Ritchie. For the 4-year term, George Dunlap, Alan Todd, Jerome Walters. Sarah Hartsaw and Harvey Jackson, both running for the 4-year term, are unavailable to join us this evening. We will begin this forum with the candidates for the 2-year term, and here is an introductory statement from our candidates. Candidates, you have 1 minute. Let's begin with Alan Mitchell.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank the League for having the forum tonight. I've been in Gillette for 15 years. I moved here from the South with my wife, Dr. Shelley Shepard. I'm a diagnostic radiologist. I've been on staff at the hospital, self-employed for the last 15 years. During that time, I've served on the medical executive committee, been chief of staff, chief of service. From 2009 to 2012, I previously served on the hospital board, and I believe it's those experiences and my familiarity with the hospital and staff that will make me a good candidate. Thank you.
You got a blank one for me? Here's Lifesaver.
Oh, if we could get you guys to hit the button on your mic and just turn them off for us, that'll be great. Thank you. All right, now you two. Mr. Ritchie, your introductory statement.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I realize I'm the new kid on the block, so there are some of the things about the job as a hospital trustee that I am not aware of, but I'm not a clock watcher and I can catch up pretty fast. I was born and raised on a ranch on Powder River north of Arvada. I'm a resident of Sheridan County, and I hope that's not held against me. But I love Gillette and I love Campbell County. I made a career out of serving on the Wyoming Highway Patrol for a total of a little over 28 and a half years. And nearly 16 years of that was spent here in Gillette in various positions and capacities from patrolman to supervisor. I believe in spending money wisely and efficiently. I realize that in any corporation where you are spending the tax money, there's kind of a contest between wants and needs, and sometimes needs are most important.
Your 1 minute's up. Thank you. Now we'll go to the first question. Candidates, you'll have 1 minute to respond to each of these questions. The first will be for Mr. Ritchie. If elected, what are your goals as a Campbell County Health trustee?
As I just said, spending money wisely and efficiently. Sometimes there are things that are wanted versus needed, and recently I had to go to Rapid City for a brain scan because Gillette did not have the proper machine to do the job. Now, I realize those kind of things cost a lot of money, but your brain's pretty important, and I think that's something that should be a high priority. And also the family practices is a shortage here in Gillette, and I think that should be a high priority with the trustees and the administrators of the hospital, is to bring about more family practices doctors into the area as soon as possible. And I believe in picking people's brains to get better ideas or other ideas other than my own. And I appreciate your time and trust, and thank you.
Thank you. Now a question for Dr. Mitchell. Given the hospital's current fiscal status, its budget, the certainty of decreased reimbursement, and increased cost of delivering services, how will you balance the hospital's checkbook?
Thank you. It's always possible to go back and look at what you've spent, see how you spent that, and try to curb cost as much as you can. There are areas where there's waste that you can always look into those and try to really look at what you need to buy, what you need to spend. One area, which I know is a topic right now, is construction. And I'm not questioning what the board's decision is about building or expanding or renovating. I'm not questioning that. But I do think that the hospital really has to look for long-term at what its goals are, where it's going, what services it's going to offer, what clinics it's going to have, and where those can go, and really try to curb spending on construction in particular. There's some other areas with billing and collection that can always be improved as well, how you do your billing, the efficiency of it, and also the completeness of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to our second question. Dr. Mitchell, what are your goals if elected as Campbell County Health Trustee?
Many of them are some things Mr. Ritchie already mentioned. I'd really like to see a return to what I would call fiscal responsibility for the hospital, having a balanced budget. Going back to your question just a few moments ago, in the next few years with the Affordable Care Act, you are going to see a significant decrease in reimbursement, probably in the area of 25 to 30%. And that's not just to physicians, that's to hospital, to all healthcare providers. You'll be looking at 25 to 30% decrease in reimbursement for the same services you've been doing. So it's not just looking at what your budget is right now, it's looking at what your budget's going to be, knowing that you'll have less money from what you do. Hospital does get tax-based revenue every year, and it's a great thing to have. You can't count on that from year to year. You don't know how much that's going to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Now a question for Mr. Ritchie. As a board member, how will you see that the medical needs of the community are met?
Well, first, we need to know what we need, and the hospital administrators and the doctors can provide that information. And at that point, then we need to check and see how much money is available for that and work to make the two meet. And I'm not sure of how much percentage of the hospital's budget can be gotten in grants or not, but if they can, some be, that should be pursued, of course. And it's you have to look at priorities, and you can't make everybody happy. And you have to look at the primary needs of what will serve the people of Campbell County the best, and make your decisions based upon that problem and that question. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now to Dr. Mitchell. How would you handle any conflicts of interest that may arise during your tenure on the board?
Well, there's a state statute which defines what a conflict of interest is. And pretty much any board member that comes onto the board is made aware of what that definition is. And I can't quote it to an exact, but it has to do with if you or your family members or anyone like that are involved in some business situation that may involve the hospital, you have a conflict. If something's going to put money directly in your pocket, you have a conflict. So if you recognize that you have a conflict or you perceive that you have a conflict, you simply declare a conflict. If you are aware of something ahead of time that's going to come up, you're not sure if you have a conflict or not, you can approach either the chairman of the board or board attorney to see if you have a conflict or not. At the same time, it's important to remember that while it's very easy sometimes when you're in an uncomfortable situation that you'd rather not be in, that's not why you declare a conflict. You're elected to represent the people, and you have to do that job. As long as you don't have a conflict, you need to make your presence known and you need to vote.
Thank you. A question for Mr. Ritchie. In the questionnaire you returned to the league, you said not paying the large amount of salary for the doctors at the hospital as a way to balance the need for specialists at the hospital and private practice. How would you determine a reasonable salary for doctors at the hospital?
Well, I think you'd have to conduct a form of a survey to find out what the going rate for similar situations in the area and even nationwide was, and then base your decision on that. And if it's a type of doctor that we really need, then you provide the money and do it to provide the services for the people and the patients that are going to take advantage of it. And I think it's that simple. Thank you.
Thank you. And now on to our final questions. Dr. Mitchell, what are your thoughts on the expansion of Medicaid in the state of Wyoming, and how do you see that affecting Campbell County Health?
In short, it would have a negative effect. It's going back to finances again. If you bill someone $1 for a service and it's worth $1, you expect to be paid $1. If you bill something like that to a Medicaid patient for that same service, you'll probably see 30 cents of that dollar back. So there's a great disparity in billing for a service and what it's worth and what you'll receive back from Medicaid. I understand Medicaid services, I understand why they're there. But every time you expand things that are covered by Medicaid, you're also going to be sitting back taking less for a service. You're going to lose money every time you do that service. I think you have to be very careful about providing necessary services that are needed for people for Medicaid and extending it on to some things that aren't. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ritchie, same question. What are your thoughts on the expansion of Medicaid in the state of Wyoming, and how do you see that affecting Campbell County Health?
Well, as being a senior citizen that's old enough to be on the Medicare program, it's myself, as an example, I had to recently change doctors because my doctor that I've been using for several years, he himself had not been paid his share by Medicare for over a year, and he was apparently having to seek legal advice and so forth to try to get his money. So I had to seek out a different doctor to start with. So it looks like there's a lot of financial problems with the Medicare program, and a lot of it, I'll admit, I'm not aware of, but that would certainly be something that I would burn the midnight oil on to bring myself up to speed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not to disagree with anything Mr. Ritchie just said, but your question was about Medicaid, which is what I spoke to, not Medicare. And those are two different entities.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now it's time for closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute. We will begin with Cliff Ritchie.
Thank you. As being 80 years old and always a very practical, logical thinking person at whatever jobs I've had, I feel that the senior citizens of Campbell County need a representative on the board. To my knowledge, there has never been someone my age or near my age elected on the board. And I think it's time for some new blood to come in, and new people always have different ideas, and would be asking a lot of questions from a lot of people that are doing the work there and say, what do you think would be the best for this, or what's your opinion of this? Because never be afraid to pick somebody else's brain for a problem. And I learned that a long time ago when I was working for the state of Wyoming. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Mitchell, 1 minute for closing statement.
Again, thank you for having us tonight, and thank you, Mr. Ritchie, for being here and for your thoughts, and I appreciate what you've had to say as well, and agree with much of what you've had to say, in the very sense that communication is a very important tool that you have to use, and If I am on the board, I'll try my best to communicate with other board members, to communicate with the CEO when it's appropriate, and to communicate with the general public in the sense of, if the public has ideas or thoughts, I think they should bring them to the entire board. I've never been a fan of people bringing individual thoughts and problems to individual board members to deal with. That's not the function of a board member. Is to see that the problems are taken care of, yes, but it's also to direct them into the right area. I've served on the board before, as I've said. I'd appreciate the opportunity to serve again. If I'm elected, I won't let you down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for joining us this evening. You two are now free to leave the dais if you'd like. We will now move on to the introductory statements from the candidates for the four-year term for the Campbell County Health Board of Trustees. Candidates, you have 1 minute. We will begin with George Dunlap.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. I'm really excited to see the young man sitting there in the blue shirt because I think he's going to be a leader in our community in the future, and that's exciting. Most of you know me. I'm George Dunlap. I've lived here my entire life. My great-grandfather on my mother's side, or on my dad's side, and my grandfather on my mother's side homesteaded south of town. I've been on the board quite a few years. I'm the old guy on the board. I was not going to run again. There's not very much experience on the board at this time. It was interesting today. I had a employee talk to me and he said, well, you have more knowledge than all the rest of the board together. And I said, well, that's not really true. Then I went up to my office and I looked, and I've been on the board. If everyone who's been on the board is elected, not saying that you won't, but if everybody's elected, I will still have more experience than all the board put together, years-wise. And so I'd appreciate it to get the votes.
Thank you. We'll now move on to Alan Todd.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. I grew up here. I moved to Gillette when I was 6 years old, and I was just about 3 blocks from here. And I also was an employee of the hospital as a part-time EMT for 11 years. I've served on multiple boards, Pioneer Manor Advisory Board for 5 years, and other boards as Teen Challenge of Wyoming, Heritage Christian School, and a few others. I was appointed in March to fill Joe Halleck's position, and it's been a great experience, a learning experience, and I'm starting to feel like I can really add something to the hospital with my experience as a business owner and as a trustee experience. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to Jerome Walters.
Thank you for having me here this evening. My name is Jerome Walters, and I am running for a seat on the Campbell County Hospital Board. I am running as a patient to bring a patient perspective to the board. As a 28-year cancer survivor and a cardiac patient, I arrived here 5.5 years ago with my wife, and the health care I required was not available here, which required that I travel out of state. Through the efforts of the present and past hospital boards and the expansion and the recruitment of highly qualified health care professionals, I am now able to receive my health care here rather than travel out of town. If elected, I would work with the board to continue these efforts to accommodate all Campbell County residents and increase citizen awareness that they need not travel out of town or out of state to receive superior health care. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our first set of questions. Candidates, you'll have 1 minute to respond. The first question will go to Mr. Todd. If elected, what would be your goals as a Campbell County Health Trustee?
My goal first is to complete our constructions, and we have several major projects that have started and will be started. One is the Legacy Living Center, the expansion of the hospital, and the clinics and the radiology, to see that those go through. I also want to continue to support and guide and direct, as the other board members, as a group, to help the administration take care of the needs of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the same question for Mr. Walters. If elected, what would be your goals as a Campbell County Health Trustee?
As a trustee, as I stated before, I would have the interests of the patients who utilize this facility so they may receive their superior health care and provide the employees a quality work environment to concentrate on providing those services.
Thank you. Mr. Dunlap, same question. If elected to another term, what would be your goals as a Campbell County Health Trustee?
Well, 1 minute wouldn't, I could sit here for a half hour, but let me talk on one that I think is very important. When I go out in public, whether it be Walmart or wherever, I have quite a few people will come and approach me about their hospital bills. And this has been a problem that we've had at the hospital for years. And I would really like to see us eventually get it so where we have a bill that people understand. Want to make sure that the hospital turns the claims in properly to the insurance company. Want to make sure that if the insurance company turns that bill down, that we have the proper support to go back and argue that bill to try to get it paid so that the patients get as much money as they can from their insurance company, what they deserve. And then from there, I'd like to see the hospital sit down with the patient, explain to them what they owe and why, and set up a way for them to pay. Not just send them a bill and say, you are in trouble, you are over, and we're going to come and take away your house. And that has happened.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to the second question. This is for Mr. Walters. In your questionnaire, you stated that Campbell County Health has become the leader for healthcare in the entire region. With regards to this statement, what other specialties do you think are necessary at Campbell County Health? You have 1 minute.
Specialties, I believe at this time that we have enough specialized medical care here. I would like to see as a trustee that we somehow address primary health care. I don't believe there's enough primary health care doctors here because, in my opinion, patients need to have a primary health care physician to look at the whole person rather than, if a person has a condition, to run to a specialist every time because there may be some other issue with the patient causing that other condition. Thank you.
Thank you. Now a question for Mr. Dunlap. In light of the recent write-off of bad debt due to indigent care, would the expansion of Medicaid in Wyoming help to offset this loss in the future?
I think the first thing we need to do is we need to, as a hospital, we need to make sure that we take care of our bad debt properly. Now, the thing that the public doesn't like and I don't like, and that is, for instance, past trustee Joe Halleck. We talked about this quite a bit. Somebody had passed away. He got a bill from the hospital for $45,000. Joe looked at that. He said, this person had Medicare. They had a supplement. We didn't know anything. He contacted the hospital. The hospital looked at the bill. What had happened is the hospital had not turned the bill over to the insurance companies, and so the hospital got no money. What happened is 3 years later, when the hospital had not got the money, they said, well, patient, you're responsible. That patient wasn't responsible, and so that money was written off as bad debt. Really, that's bad business. The hospital needs to quit doing that kind of thing.
Thank you. Mr. Todd, what is the role of the board in assisting physicians to start a private practice in Campbell County?
Okay, the current recruitment system that we have in place, I'll explain that first. We have a professional recruiter, and she recruits from many different sources. And when we bring in, we have a consultant that tells us what type of doctors we need in our community, and that's what she uses for her tool to find the correct doctors. And with that, when we come, the doctors that come to Gillette, the board had decided years before I was on there that they are to bring doctors for the community. They do not necessarily, when they help doctors, it's not necessarily to help them to work as an employed physician, but they also have the option to open their own practice or join an existing practice. And so currently, the way we're recruiting is they have that option to be a private practice or have a join another practice. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 3, Mr. Dunlap. With the recent opening of the cardiac cath lab, is there still a need for more specialized facilities at Campbell County Health, or should the focus be on general medicine?
Well, right now, we have a good handle as far as the specialists. There are some areas, dermatology is one that's very important. There are some other ones. But there is, without a doubt, family practice is what we need. When we opened up the walk-in clinic, the idea of the walk-in clinic was for you to walk in the front door, there would be a triage nurse. At that triage nurse, she would tell you either you go to the emergency room if you need emergent care, or you can go to the walk-in clinic. It would be very nice if we had that triage nurse. So far, it has not happened. But that helps in people going in and seeing the doctor, but you need to see a doctor at least annually. I know guys don't like to do that, women will, but we need to go in and see a doctor so that they know what's happening with you. As far as additional specialists at this time, we need to make sure we take care of the ones, make sure we have the infrastructure to take care of the doctors we have now and go from there. Wow, 1 minute.
Thank you.
Quick.
Mr. Todd, what is the role of the board in regard to hospital operations?
The board has one employee, and that's currently is Mr. Fitzgerald, the CEO. And that's our only employee, and we empower him with resources, financial resources, and other support to manage the 1,200 employees that he has under him. Our job is not to interfere or intercede in the way we're not specialists in running hospitals. That's what we hire specialists to do, like Mr. Fitzgerald and the staff that he has underneath him. The role of the board is to give him his support, and secondly is be a liaison from the public. And for the public, as George talked about, people that have troubles with their bills or people that have troubles with their health care, that we can direct them to the people within the hospital that can take care of their needs. Now, we should follow up as a board member, and if they're not taken care of, is go to the administration and step it up to find out how we can help the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walters, what are your thoughts on the expansion of Medicaid in the state of Wyoming, and how do you see that affecting Campbell County Health?
I must say, I'm sorry, I do not have any information to answer that question.
Okay, thank you. We're now on to our final question. Mr. Todd, what are your thoughts on the expansion of Medicaid in the state of Wyoming, and how do you see that affecting Campbell County Health?
I know very little about the expansion. I learned more from Dr. Mitchell than I knew before I came here. So I would agree with what Dr. Mitchell said. I expect that as we increase services, that we are going to get paid at a lesser rate. It's going to affect the finances of the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walters, what is the role of the board in regard to hospital operations?
Would you repeat that one more time, please?
Certainly. What is the role of the Board of Trustees in regard to hospital operations?
To define a trustee is an individual appointed or elected to administer the affairs of a company or institution. Being elected to the Board of Trustees by the citizens of Campbell County, it is a duty of the trustees to have the interests of the patients who utilize this facility to receive their superior health care and provide the employees a quality work environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dunlap, same question. What is the role of the Board of Trustees in regard to hospital operations?
I believe that the trustee is to provide direction. Now, as an elected board, it is different than an appointed board. An elected board should be careful not to just rubber stamp everything the administration does. And so I personally have always felt that it's very important that the trustees really know what's happening. Many times the administrator cannot know everything, and so you'll have an employee or somebody from the public come and talk to you about something, and then you can relate that to the administrator. So I think it's very good for the trustee to be active in the community, active in knowing what's going on, active in knowing how things are working at the hospital, and then that trustee never can go and hire or fire an employee except for the administrator, but yet he can say how services or an employee is performing. Definitely the finances is very, very important, and I must talk too long, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Now it's time for closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute, and we'll begin with Jerome Walters.
Thank you. I don't want to recap what I've already said because everything I've said is how I mean. If elected, I would work with the board to provide health care for our patients and to make sure that all the improvements that we make are cost-effective for our county. Thank you.
Thank you. George Dunlap, closing statements.
Yes. I'd like to relate one story. I had got in contact with a lady. She told me a story. Her son played football. The boy went to practice. He was young, about 10 years old. He got through with football practice. They were going home. They went by Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he had a good practice. Said, let's stop and have Kentucky Fried Chicken. So they went in, they ate. The son started eating the chicken, and it was hot, so he swallowed the chicken real fast. And all of a sudden, he said, something's in my throat. I can't take it. And this lady said, you know how a mother is, and they went on. Well, come to find out, the son had a bone stuck in his throat. Now, all of us had something in our throat, and we know that feeling. That mother took him to the hospital, to the emergency room. The emergency room tried to contact the ENT. The ENT, the ear, nose, and throat doctor, who should take care of that, who should have been able to come on call, did not come in. That boy could not. There was no doctors that could take care of it. They had to take him, put him in a car, and drive him to Casper. That's what we need to stop in Campbell County. We need to make sure the people are there.
Thank you.
Take care of it.
All right, Alan Todd.
Thank you for having me again. I want to continue as a trustee, to give my experience as a business owner, as a former employee, as a board member of other organizations. I'm very passionate about CCMH, or CCH as we're called now. I'm a patient there. I feel like I've invested enough money in the place. I should have a room or something named after me. But I feel like, and I've had recent experience with my mother being in the hospital, that we provide excellent care, and it's just a matter that we're just going to continue to grow and provide more care and better health care for Campbell County. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes tonight's forum. I'd like to thank all of our candidates on behalf of Campbell County League of Women Voters. I would also like to thank Basin Radio Network for broadcasting these forums on 1270 AM. A reminder that all broadcasts of these forums will air on GPA TV, channel 192. They're also streaming at gillettewy.gov/GPA. DVDs will also be available at the Campbell County Public Library for viewing. Candidates are invited to drop off campaign literature at the library as well. To all the candidates, our audience here in the City Council chambers, and viewing at home, we thank you for your participation. Again, please take the time to vote on November 4th. Thank you, and good night.